Welcome to Finding Home, a heartwarming story of unexpected family, resilience, and love. Nathan Blake, a successful yet lonely man, finds his life turned upside down when he discovers a young girl, Lily, lost in the woods near his mansion. Offering her shelter, he quickly realizes this isn't just a temporary arrangement. Their connection grows, filling his once empty home with warmth and joy. But as Nathan opens his heart to Lily, they both face challenges that test their newfound bond. With the added care of Nathan's mother, Evelyn, who struggles with Alzheimer's, they must navigate the ups and downs of building a family from scratch. Will they overcome the obstacles and truly become a family? If you're moved by stories of hope and belonging, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more tales that celebrate the beauty of connection. Now let's begin finding home. Nathan Blake pulled into the circular driveway of his sprawling but silent home, exhaustion etched across his face. As the headlights of his black sedan swept across the stone pillars lining the entrance, Nathan felt the familiar wave of loneliness settle over him. The house, though elegant and filled with everything he could possibly need, felt hollow, like an echo chamber for his thoughts and regrets. He parked and leaned back in his seat, watching the last remnants of sunset disappear behind the line of trees surrounding the property. The evening air was crisp, carrying a hint of the coming fall, but Nathan stayed in the car a little longer. Once he stepped inside, he knew he would face only silence. The house was large, with rooms he rarely entered, corridors he barely walked down, and views he seldom admired. His father had left him everything, including the family company, a prestigious architectural firm his father had built from the ground up. Nathan had inherited the responsibility, a demanding role that left him drained at the end of each day. But no matter how many deals he closed, how many projects he oversaw, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was missing. He finally opened the door and stepped out, his footsteps echoing across the wide garage as he made his way to the entrance. The house loomed above him, its towering silhouette blending into the dusky sky. As he entered, he was greeted by Anna, his loyal housekeeper who was already preparing to leave for the night. "Good evening, Mr. Blake," Anna said, offering a polite nod as she folded a cloth over her arm. She was efficient, composed, and dependable. Her gaze met his, a slight hint of worry flickering there. "Good evening, Anna," Nathan replied, forcing a smile. He appreciated her presence in the house, though their conversations rarely extended beyond the essentials. She managed the house impeccably, but even she couldn't fill the void in his heart. "Is everything all right, Mr. Blake?" she asked, sensing his fatigue. "Yes, just another busy day." He glanced at the clock on the wall. "You should go ahead and get some rest, Anna." Anna gave him a respectful nod and gathered her things, leaving Nathan to the silence. He wandered into the kitchen, poured himself a glass of water, and leaned against the counter, contemplating the empty rooms and long, silent halls that stretched around him. The next morning, Nathan's routine began with a familiar sense of dread and fatigue. Saturdays were supposed to be his day off, but for him it was just another day of quiet isolation. Except for one thing: visiting his mother, Evelyn. Evelyn, his only remaining family, lived in a specialized care facility not far from his estate. The distance felt vast, not because of geography but because of her condition. She had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's years ago, and her memory had slowly faded, slipping away one cherished moment at a time. Visits were always bittersweet. Though she often didn't remember who he was, her eyes would sometimes light up with fleeting recognition. Nathan walked through the doors of the care facility and made his way to Evelyn's room, his hands tightening around the small bouquet of daisies he'd picked up on the way. The flowers had been her favorite once. Now she barely looked at them, but he still brought them each time, hoping that maybe, somehow, they would spark a memory. He found her sitting by the window, looking out at the garden with a distant gaze. Her hands were folded neatly in her lap, and her graying hair was tied back, as always. When he entered, she turned her head slowly, her eyes settling on him with a flicker of confusion. "Mom, it's me, Nathan," he said softly, offering her a gentle smile as he placed the flowers on the small table by her side. For a moment she just stared, her eyes narrowing slightly as if she were struggling to place him. But then a faint smile tugged at her lips. "Nathan?" she murmured, her voice soft and hesitant, like a whisper from the past. You're here." "Yes, Mom," he replied, taking her hand gently. "I'm here." They talked briefly, but the conversation was fractured, jumping from topic to topic as Evelyn's thoughts wandered. She asked about his father, about family members who had long passed, and even about Nathan's childhood dog, Max, as if time had folded in on itself. Still, he cherished these visits, no matter how disjointed they were. As he left, Nathan felt the familiar ache of loneliness settle over him again. The large house, his demanding job, even his mother's fading memory, none of it brought him the sense of fulfillment he yearned for. His heart ached for something he couldn't quite name, something he hadn't yet found. That evening, Nathan decided to take a walk in the forest surrounding his property. The trees stood tall and silent, their leaves rustling softly in the breeze, creating a soothing rhythm that calmed his restless thoughts. He walked without a clear direction, letting the forest guide him, its paths familiar yet somehow mysterious in the dimming twilight. The further he walked, the more he felt his worries dissolve. The sounds of the forest, the rustling leaves, the distant call of a night bird, the crunch of branches beneath his feet, filled the silence he had grown so accustomed to. Here, amidst the towering trees, he felt a rare sense of peace, a reprieve from the weight of his responsibilities. As he rounded a bend in the trail, he heard a faint sound, a soft, muffled sobbing. He froze, listening intently, and after a moment he followed the sound, his heart quickening with curiosity and concern. Beneath a large oak tree, huddled and shivering, was a small figure, a girl, no older than 10, dressed in a simple dress that was too thin for the chilly evening. Her knees were drawn up to her chest, and her face was buried in her arms, her shoulders shaking with quiet sobs. Nathan approached slowly, careful not to startle her. "Hey there," he said gently, crouching down a few feet away. "Are you all right?" The girl looked up, her tear-streaked face full of surprise and fear. She hesitated, clutching her knees tightly, but after a moment she spoke in a small, trembling voice. I'm lost," she whispered. "I don't know how to get home." Nathan felt a pang of compassion. "It's okay," he said softly. "You're safe now. What's your name?" She hesitated before answering. "Lily." "Well, Lily," he said, offering her a reassuring smile, "let's get you somewhere warm for the night. I'll help you find your way back tomorrow. Does that sound all right?" Lily looked at him with uncertainty, but a glimmer of hope appeared in her eyes. She gave a small nod, allowing him to help her up. As they walked back through the forest, Nathan felt an unfamiliar warmth spread through his chest, a feeling he hadn't experienced in years. As they reached the house, Lily's eyes widened, taking in the sight of the large stone mansion. She looked up at Nathan, awe mixed with curiosity. "Is this your home?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Nathan chuckled softly. "Yes, it is. Tonight it's yours too." Inside, he guided her to the warm glow of the fireplace, offering her a soft blanket and a mug of hot chocolate. Lily curled up on the couch, her face gradually relaxing as she sipped the warm drink. Watching her, Nathan felt a sense of purpose that had been absent for so long, a sense of fulfillment he hadn't known he was missing. Just as Lily began to doze off, Anna appeared, her face registering surprise and concern at the sight of the young girl. Nathan met her questioning gaze with a reassuring nod, his mind already made up. Tonight, Lily would stay, and tomorrow he would find out more about the mysterious girl who had wandered into his life. The early morning sunlight streamed through the tall windows of Nathan's mansion, casting soft golden rays across the room. Nathan awoke to a sound he hadn't heard in years, the faint hum of another person moving about in the house. He'd almost forgotten that he wasn't alone anymore. With a newfound energy, he dressed quickly and made his way downstairs, curious to find Lily. In the kitchen, he found her seated at the large dining table, her eyes wide with wonder as she examined the variety of foods Anna had set out for breakfast. Warm oatmeal, fresh fruit, and slices of toast with homemade jam. She looked up, her eyes lighting up as she saw Nathan. "Good morning," he greeted her warmly, pulling out a chair. "Did you sleep well?" Lily nodded, her shy smile growing. "This place is really big." "I never thought houses like this were real." Nathan chuckled, watching as she cautiously reached for a piece of toast. For someone so young, she had a maturity about her, a carefulness that spoke of hard experiences. As they ate, he noticed her watching him with a mix of curiosity and hesitation. He decided to tread lightly, not wanting to push her but curious about how she had ended up alone in the forest the night before. "Lily," he began gently, "do you want to tell me more about where you live?" For a moment her face clouded, but she slowly nodded. "It's a little place I made. Not like this, but I made it all myself. My mom taught me some things before." She trailed off, looking down at her plate. Nathan felt a pang in his chest. He knew better than to push further. Instead, he reached over, giving her a reassuring pat on the shoulder. "You're welcome to stay here until we figure things out." Lily nodded, and the small but heartfelt moment brought a warmth to the table that Nathan hadn't felt in years. After breakfast, Nathan led Lily to the library, a place filled with books he had collected over the years but rarely read. As Lily browsed the shelves, Anna appeared in the doorway, a hint of tension in her gaze. "Mr. Blake," she said, pulling him aside, her voice low but firm. "I understand that you want to help her, but don't you think bringing a stranger into the house, especially a child, could be risky?" Nathan frowned, surprised by Anna's concern. "Anna, she's just a young girl. She was lost, alone in the forest. I couldn't leave her there." Anna sighed, glancing toward Lily, who was engrossed in a colorful picture book. "But how long will she stay? What if she has family looking for her? And what about your mother, Mr. Blake? You know how fragile she is. It could be a disruption to her routine." Nathan's expression softened, but his resolve was firm. "I've thought about all of that, Anna. I'll take responsibility for her, but I won't just send her away. She's been through enough. I hope you can understand that." Anna nodded, though reluctantly, her gaze lingering on Lily. "All right. I'll prepare a room for her, but please consider the implications, Mr. Blake. You have a lot on your plate already." Nathan thanked her and returned to the library, feeling the weight of Anna's concerns. But as he watched Lily's face light up with excitement at the books in front of her, he knew he had made the right decision. The next day, Nathan took Lily to visit his mother, Evelyn. He wanted her to meet the only other person in his life who mattered, hoping the presence of a child might bring a spark of warmth to his Mother's Day. As they arrived at the care facility, he sensed Lily's apprehension. Inside, Evelyn was seated in her usual armchair by the window, her gaze distant. Nathan approached her gently, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Mom, I've brought someone to meet you. This is Lily." Lily stepped forward, her small hand outstretched. Evelyn turned her gaze slowly, a flicker of recognition crossing her eyes as she took in the young girl. "Oh, hello, dear," Evelyn said softly, her voice filled with warmth despite the confusion that clouded her expression. They sat together, and Nathan began to talk to his mother about Lily's love for books and music. "You know, Mom, Lily can play a little guitar. Maybe she could play a song for you sometime." Lily looked at him, surprised. You have a guitar?" Nathan nodded. "It was my mother's. She loved music. Maybe it would bring her some comfort to hear it again." Lily agreed, her eyes bright with excitement and curiosity. The following evening, back at the mansion, Nathan brought out the old guitar from Evelyn's room, placing it gently in Lily's hands. She strummed it carefully, her fingers finding familiar chords as she began to play a simple, soothing melody. As the notes filled the room, Nathan saw a rare expression of peace on Evelyn's face. It was as if, through the music, a bridge had been built between Evelyn's fading memories and the present. Nathan's heart swelled with hope, realizing that Lily's presence was already making a difference in their lives. Over the next few days, Nathan and Lily grew closer, their conversations filled with a mix of laughter and honesty. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Nathan gently asked her more about her life. Lily was hesitant at first, but Nathan's quiet, compassionate listening encouraged her to open up. She spoke of her father, who had been her primary caregiver, a man who had taught her to read, play music, and be resourceful. She mentioned how he had fallen ill with a heart condition and passed away shortly after, leaving her with no family nearby. Unable to face the orphanage, she had chosen to live independently, crafting a makeshift home in a secluded spot where no one could find her. Nathan listened, moved by her resilience. "You're very strong, Lily," he said softly. "But you don't have to be alone anymore. I'm here now, and I'll help you." For the first time, Lily seemed to believe him. She looked at him, her eyes reflecting a mix of hope and vulnerability. You really mean that?" she asked. "Yes," Nathan replied firmly. "You're part of this home now." Just as Nathan began to feel secure in his decision to keep Lily with him, a letter arrived from social services. They had received a report about a young girl who had been seen around his property. The letter politely but firmly requested that he arrange a meeting to discuss Lily's circumstances and her welfare. Nathan felt a surge of panic. The thought of Lily being taken away filled him with dread. He reached out to a friend, Tom Daniels, a compassionate lawyer with experience in family cases, seeking advice on how to protect her. Tom assured him that they had options, though he advised caution. "You'll need to demonstrate that you're able to provide a safe, stable environment for her, Nathan," Tom explained. "Social services will likely want to place her in a foster home, but if you're serious about keeping her with you, I'll help you present your case." Nathan thanked him, feeling both relief and a growing sense of determination. He was prepared to fight for Lily, no matter the challenges that lay ahead. After receiving the notice from social services, Nathan spent the next morning consulting with Tom Daniels, his lawyer. Sitting in Tom's downtown office, surrounded by stacks of legal texts and framed degrees, Nathan's mind raced with questions. He knew he had taken Lily in out of compassion, but now he was beginning to realize that keeping her with him meant stepping onto a complex path he hadn't anticipated. Tom leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. "The biggest challenge," he explained, "is demonstrating to social services that you're committed to Lily's long-term well-being. They're going to need proof that you're not just offering temporary shelter. It's about showing that she'll be part of a stable, supportive environment." Nathan nodded, absorbing the gravity of Tom's words. He had never considered himself the fatherly type, but now he could hardly imagine life without Lily in it. "I understand. I'll do whatever it takes." Tom handed him a list of documents and procedures. "We'll start by filing for temporary guardianship. This will establish a legal foundation. In the meantime, get to know her routine, her schooling needs, anything that will help us make the case that you're serious about this." Nathan left the office with a renewed sense of purpose. Taking in Lily had been a spontaneous act, but now, as he held the list of steps he'd need to take, he realized it was one he would fight for with every ounce of determination he had. Back at the mansion, Nathan introduced Lily to a few more rooms he thought she might like, particularly his mother Evelyn's music room. It had once been a sanctuary for Evelyn, a place where she composed and played her beloved songs. Lily's eyes lit up as Nathan showed her the various instruments arranged neatly along the walls. "Your mom played all these?" she asked, running her fingers along the keys of an old piano. Nathan nodded. She was an incredible musician. Music was her way of connecting with the world, even when words started to fail her. Lily took a seat at the piano, playing a soft, simple tune that she had learned from her father. The notes drifted through the room, soft and haunting. Nathan watched her, marveling at how naturally she fit into this house, how her presence seemed to draw his mother's memory back to life. Later that day, Lily brought the guitar to Evelyn's room. She began to play one of Evelyn's old compositions, a song she had heard Nathan hum. As the music filled the space, Evelyn's expression softened, her gaze focusing as if the melody had pulled her from the fog of memory loss. For the first time in weeks, she whispered, "That's beautiful." Evelyn looked at Lily with a moment of clarity. A small but meaningful connection sparked between them. Nathan, watching the scene, felt a swell of gratitude. Lily's presence was already bringing light back into Evelyn's world, and he knew he had to protect this newfound family at all costs. A week later, a social services representative, Mrs. Cora Fields, arrived at the mansion for a formal evaluation. She was a sharp, professional woman with a clipboard and a cautious demeanor, here to assess whether Nathan's home was suitable for Lily. After the formalities, Mrs. Fields began her questions, addressing both Nathan and Lily directly. "Lily, could you tell me about your time here with Mr. Blake? Are you comfortable? Do you feel safe?" Lily, though initially shy, answered truthfully. "Yes, I feel safe. Mr. Nathan? He's really kind to me and he takes care of me. I even get to play music for his mom, and I like that." Ms. Fields jotted down notes, her face revealing little emotion. She turned to Nathan, who answered her questions about finances, routines, and educational plans for Lily with calm precision. But as the conversation continued, Mrs. Fields' questions became more pointed. "It's not just about safety, Mr. Blake," she stated. "We also need to assess Lily's emotional needs and long-term security. Have you considered that she might be better suited to a traditional family setting?" Nathan's hands tightened around his coffee cup, but he maintained his composure. "With respect, Mrs. Fields, I believe Lily has found exactly what she needs here. We're becoming a family." Ms. Fields studied him for a long moment. "Very well, Mr. Blake. I'll be following up in a few weeks. This isn't a decision we take lightly." As she left, Nathan felt the weight of her unspoken judgment. He was willing to prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that he could give Lily the home she deserved. The days following Mrs. Fields' visit were filled with a tense anticipation. Lily, who had overheard parts of the conversation, grew quiet, sensing the uncertainty surrounding her stay. Nathan could tell she was worried, and it pained him to see the doubt flickering in her eyes. One evening, as they sat by the fire, Lily turned to him, her voice barely a whisper. "Are they going to take me away?" Nathan felt a pang in his chest. He reached over, taking her hand in his. "I'm going to do everything I can to keep you here, Lily. You belong here with me and with Evelyn." Lily looked up, her expression wavering between hope and fear. "I don't want to go. I like it here. It feels like home." Hearing those words filled Nathan with a fierce determination. In that moment, he resolved to protect Lily from anything that threatened to separate them. He would make sure she stayed with him, no matter the obstacles in his way. The legal process intensified as the date for the guardianship hearing approached. Tom Daniels guided Nathan through each step, from gathering character references to proving the stability of his household. He even encouraged Nathan to document Lily's role in the family, including her connection with Evelyn. Together they compiled evidence of the bond Lily shared with both Nathan and Evelyn. They included photos of their times together, testimonies from caregivers who had witnessed Lily's positive impact on Evelyn, and even notes from Lily's own words about feeling at home. Tom met Nathan before the hearing, offering final words of encouragement. "Remember, Nathan, this is about showing the court that Lily is not only safe here, but that she's loved. Stay focused on that." Nathan nodded, taking a deep breath. He had never felt more prepared, yet more nervous. This was a battle for family, and he was ready to fight for it. The morning of the guardianship hearing arrived with a heavy sense of anticipation. Nathan, dressed in a neatly pressed suit, took a moment to steady himself in the mirror. He had spent weeks preparing for this moment, gathering every document, testimonial, and piece of evidence that might strengthen his case to keep Lily by his side. Lily stood beside him, dressed in a simple but elegant navy blue dress, her small hand clutching his tightly. She had been quiet throughout the morning, her face pale and serious. The weight of the day was not lost on her, and Nathan could see the worry in her eyes. He knelt down, meeting her gaze. "Lily, I want you to know that no matter what happens, you are part of my family. We're going to do our best, okay?" She nodded, giving him a shy smile. "I believe you, Mr. Nathan. I don't want to go anywhere else." They drove to the courthouse in silence, each lost in their thoughts. The courtroom was filled with a quiet hum of voices and the shuffling of papers as they entered, settling into their seats. Tom Daniels arrived shortly after, giving Nathan a reassuring nod. "Today's about showing them what Lily means to you and what you mean to her," Tom said. "You've done everything right. Now we just tell your story." Nathan gave him a firm nod, feeling the swell of determination rise within him. For Lily, he would face anything. The judge, a stern but fair-looking woman named Judge Harris, began the proceedings, her tone professional yet compassionate. She introduced the parties and outlined the purpose of the hearing. to determine whether Nathan's guardianship would be in Lily's best interest. Ms. Cora Fields, the social services representative, presented her report, detailing her observations of Lily's stay with Nathan. Her tone was cautious, mentioning her concerns about the unconventional nature of the arrangement. "Nathan Blake provides a stable home environment," Mrs. Fields stated, glancing at her notes. "But given Lily's young age and background, we must carefully evaluate if he is equipped to provide the kind of long-term, familial support she needs." Tom Daniels countered by presenting evidence of the bond Lily had formed with Nathan and Evelyn. He highlighted Lily's emotional growth and stability since moving in with Nathan, as well as the positive impact she had on Evelyn's well-being. "Your Honor, this isn't a matter of financial stability or convenience," Tom argued passionately. "This is a matter of family. Nathan and Lily have found a home with each other, a home filled with love, support, and connection." Judge Harris listened attentively, occasionally nodding as Tom spoke. Her expression was thoughtful as she reviewed the documents before her. Finally, she turned to Nathan. "Mr. Blake," she began, her voice clear, "would you like to speak on your behalf?" Nathan rose, taking a deep breath as he looked directly at the judge. "Your Honor, when Lily came into my life, I wasn't prepared for the impact she would have on me. I'm not her biological father, and I didn't plan for this, but she has changed my life in ways I never expected. I am committed to providing her with a home, a family, and a future filled with love. I can't imagine my life without her now." As he spoke, Nathan's voice wavered, but he held firm, his gaze unwavering. "Lily deserves a stable home, not a temporary arrangement. I am here to give her that home." The judge regarded him thoughtfully, her eyes showing a glimmer of empathy. To Nathan's surprise, Judge Harris invited Lily to speak. She looked to Nathan, who gave her a gentle nod of encouragement. Lily stood, small and somewhat timid, but she met the judge's gaze bravely. "Your Honor, I was alone for a long time before I met Mr. Nathan," she began, her voice soft but steady. "When he found me, I didn't think anyone would care about me again. But he did. He made me feel safe and gave me a place that feels like home." The courtroom was silent as Lily continued. "I don't want to go anywhere else. Mr. Nathan takes care of me and his mom, Miss Evelyn. She needs me too. I play music for her, and she smiles. I think it makes her feel happy. I like being with them. It's the only family I have." Her words left a profound impact on the room. Judge Harris watched her closely, a flicker of compassion in her eyes as she nodded. "Thank you, Lily," Judge Harris said gently before turning back to the representatives. "We'll take a brief recess while I consider the information presented here." Nathan, Lily, and Tom retreated to a waiting area, the tension thick in the air. Nathan could feel his heart pounding, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. Tom offered a few reassuring words, but Nathan could see the worry in his eyes as well. Lily sat beside him, looking up with quiet determination. "Do you think we'll be okay?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Nathan wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "Yes, Lily. No matter what happens, we're going to find a way. But I believe Judge Harris understands. I think she sees what we have." They waited in silence, the minutes stretching on like hours. The door to the courtroom finally opened, and an attendant signaled them to return. Judge Harris's face was serious as everyone resumed their seats. She took a moment to shuffle the papers before her, casting a glance in Nathan's direction. "Mr. Blake," she began, her tone even and calm. "This court recognizes the effort and commitment you've demonstrated in caring for Lily. Family is not defined solely by blood, and it's clear that Lily has found a sense of belonging with you." She paused, allowing her words to sink in. "Therefore, it is the court's decision to grant you temporary guardianship of Lily Turner, with the option to pursue permanent guardianship after a 6-month evaluation period." Relief washed over Nathan as he gripped the edge of the table, a quiet exhale escaping him. Lily, beaming, reached over to hug him tightly, her small arms wrapped around him with all the strength she could muster. "Thank you, Your Honor," Nathan managed, his voice filled with gratitude. Judge Harris nodded, a rare smile softening her face as she acknowledged the bond between Nathan and Lily. The drive back to the mansion was filled with an overwhelming sense of relief and joy. Nathan could hardly believe the outcome, feeling as though a massive weight had been lifted from his shoulders. Lily, sitting beside him, held his hand tightly, her expression one of pure happiness. When they arrived home, Anna greeted them at the door, her usual reserved demeanor softened by a warm smile. "Welcome home," she said, her voice filled with genuine warmth. Even she couldn't deny the impact Lily had made on their lives. That evening, they celebrated with a small dinner, just the three of them. Nathan had never felt more content, surrounded by his family, his real, chosen family. Later, Lily settled down beside Evelyn, playing soft music on the guitar as Evelyn listened, her eyes filled with a rare clarity. As the melody filled the room, Nathan watched the two, feeling a profound sense of peace. As the days passed, the initial excitement from the court's decision began to settle, replaced by the quiet routine of family life. Nathan found himself in unfamiliar territory, navigating a household that now included the lively presence of a young girl who was quickly becoming the heartbeat of the home. Small moments, the clatter of dishes at breakfast, the gentle sounds of Lily practicing music with Evelyn, filled the once silent halls with a warmth Nathan had longed for. In many ways, adjusting to this new life was a joyful experience. But for Nathan, it was also an emotional adjustment. He'd spent years building up his career, focused entirely on his role as a business leader. Now, balancing work with family commitments stretched him in ways he hadn't anticipated. Each morning, he had to remind himself to slow down, to be present, and to appreciate the small, fleeting moments he was creating with Lily and Evelyn. Lily, meanwhile, quickly adapted to life in the mansion, her initial shyness giving way to her natural curiosity. She explored every room and nook she could find, asking Nathan endless questions about the paintings on the walls, the antique furniture, and even the books in his study. Her boundless energy brought light to the house, and Nathan often found himself smiling at her inquisitive nature. One day she asked him, "Mr. Nathan, can I call you Dad?" The question caught him by surprise, his heart swelling with emotion. He knelt down, meeting her eyes with a gentle smile. "I'd love that, Lily," he replied, his voice barely above a whisper. From that day on, Dad became her new name for him, and each time she said it, Nathan felt a warmth that no success in business had ever brought him. Evelyn's condition fluctuated, with moments of clarity punctuating her otherwise clouded days. Lily continued to spend time with her, often playing the guitar and singing softly in the afternoons. The music seemed to transcend the fog of Evelyn's memory loss, sparking glimmers of recognition that brought joy to everyone in the household. One afternoon, as Lily played an old melody Evelyn used to sing to Nathan as a child, Evelyn looked up, her gaze clear and focused. She reached out, her frail hand gently resting on Lily's shoulder. "Thank you, sweetheart," she murmured, her voice filled with a warmth that matched her gaze. "You play so beautifully. It reminds me of when I used to sing to my Nathan." Lily smiled, glancing over at Nathan, who stood by the door, watching the interaction with a mixture of gratitude and awe. "I love playing for you, Miss Evelyn," she replied softly. "It makes me happy to see you smile." Nathan felt a pang of emotion. Music had become a bridge between the past and the present, connecting them all in a way that words alone couldn't. Evelyn's moments of lucidity were precious, and he cherished the way Lily's presence seemed to draw those moments out, bringing peace to his mother and to himself. Several weeks later, Mrs. Cora Fields returned to conduct a follow-up evaluation. Nathan greeted her with a polite smile, though he felt a flicker of anxiety. He knew this was a routine check, but he couldn't help feeling protective of the life he and Lily had built together. Ms. Fields walked through the house, observing the changes since her last visit. She noted the small details that reflected Lily's presence: art supplies on the table, a school calendar on the wall, and a collection of books stacked neatly on a shelf. "Mr. Blake? Mrs.?" Fields began. "It's clear that you and Lily have established a strong bond. She seems to be thriving here. However, our department will require continued updates on her well-being over the next few months, especially given your mother's condition." Nathan nodded, grateful that Mrs. Fields could see the positive impact Lily had on their home. He assured her of his commitment to providing stability for Lily, determined to maintain the security they had worked so hard to create. As Ms. Fields prepared to leave, she glanced at Lily, who was seated at the piano with Evelyn, guiding her hands over the keys. A rare, genuine smile softened Ms. Fields' usually serious expression. "Family is where we find it, Mr. Blake," she said quietly. "It looks like Lily has found hers here." Nathan felt a surge of relief and gratitude. It was a small moment, but one that gave him hope that they could maintain this life together. As the weeks turned into months, Nathan began to experience the realities of parenting. Lily's schooling needs became a top priority, and he worked with local educators to create a curriculum that allowed her to catch up in areas where she had fallen behind. The mansion became not just a home, but a learning environment, with Anna even helping Lily with math and reading in the afternoons. There were challenges, of course. Some days, Lily's playful nature led to spilled juice on the furniture or paint splattered on the walls. Other times, she'd become quiet and withdrawn, haunted by memories of her life before Nathan. Those moments tested Nathan's patience and resilience, but he met each one with compassion, learning to support her through the highs and lows. One evening, after a particularly tough day, Lily hesitated outside Evelyn's room. Nathan noticed her reluctance and knelt beside her. "Is everything all right, Lily?" he asked, his voice soft. She shrugged, looking down. I don't want to be a burden. You have so much to take care of already." Nathan's heart broke at her words. He placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "Lily, you're not a burden. Your family. Families look out for each other, and we're here for each other, no matter what." She looked up, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Dad." One chilly autumn afternoon, Nathan was sitting in Evelyn's room while Lily played a song on the guitar. Evelyn, who had been quiet all day, suddenly looked up, her eyes sharp with a rare lucidity. "Nathan?" she asked, her voice clear and full of recognition. "Nathan, you're here." Nathan's heart leapt. He hadn't heard her say his name with such clarity in months. "Yes, Mom, I'm here," he said, moving closer to her. Evelyn smiled, her gaze moving to Lily. "And you brought an angel with you. She has such a beautiful voice. She reminds me of myself when I was young." Nathan glanced at Lily, who was watching the scene with awe. Evelyn's recognition of Lily felt like a gift, a blessing that validated the bond they had all created. Tears filled Nathan's eyes as he sat with his mother, holding her hand, savoring the precious moment of clarity. He looked at Lily, grateful that her music had given him this rare connection with his mother. In that instant he felt a profound peace settle over him, a quiet certainty that he was exactly where he was meant to be. The clarity of that moment lingered in Nathan's mind long after the day ended, filling him with a renewed sense of purpose. He saw how much Lily and Evelyn needed each other, and how much he needed them both. He had once felt so sure of his path as a businessman, but now his heart lay firmly in his role as a father and a son. That evening, as they gathered for dinner, Nathan proposed an idea. "Lily, how would you feel about making your adoption official, so that you're not just part of the family in our hearts, but in every way?" Lily's eyes widened, a spark of joy lighting up her face. "Really, Dad? You'd want to make me your real daughter?" Nathan nodded, his own smile mirroring hers. "More than anything, Lily, I want everyone to know that you're my daughter." With that promise, the Blake family moved forward, their lives interwoven by love, resilience, and the music that connected them all. The morning was bright and hopeful as Nathan stood outside the courthouse, waiting for his appointment with Tom Daniels. They were officially beginning the adoption process for Lily, a step that felt as monumental as it was exhilarating. He had never anticipated this path, but each moment he shared with Lily and Evelyn had convinced him that this was what his life was meant for. When Tom arrived, he offered Nathan a reassuring handshake. "We'll need to prepare for a few rounds of interviews, home inspections, and evaluations," he explained. "The good news is that with your guardianship already established, this process will be smoother." Nathan took a deep breath, nodding. "I'm ready, Tom. Whatever it takes." The process would require paperwork, legal procedures, and numerous visits from social services to ensure he could provide Lily with a stable home. But Nathan was undeterred. He knew the obstacles ahead wouldn't be easy, but every signature, every meeting, every question answered brought him closer to making Lily a permanent part of his family. That evening, as Nathan and Lily sat by the fire, he shared the news with her. "Lily," he began, his voice gentle, "we're officially starting the process to make you my daughter. Permanently." Lily's eyes widened, a mixture of disbelief and joy crossing her face. "Really?" she whispered, her voice filled with wonder. "You mean forever?" Nathan smiled, reaching for her hand. "Yes, forever. You'll never have to worry about being alone again. You're my family, Lily, and I want everyone to know it." She threw her arms around him, burying her face in his shoulder as she whispered, "Thank you, Dad. I've wanted this for so long." The warmth of her embrace filled him with a sense of purpose, reaffirming every decision he had made. From that night forward, Lily began calling him Dad, with a newfound confidence, her voice steady and sure with each affectionate word. The adoption process proved to be more rigorous than Nathan had anticipated. Although he'd already secured temporary guardianship, each step of the adoption process required a detailed assessment of his life, finances, and capacity to provide a long-term family for Lily. Ms. Cora Fields conducted another round of evaluations, and while she was kind and thorough, her questions were direct. "Mr. Blake, have you considered what this adoption will mean for you long-term?" she asked one afternoon. "Raising a child is a lifelong commitment. Are you prepared for the responsibilities that come with it?" Nathan's response was firm, his resolve unshakable. "I understand the commitment, Mrs. Fields, and I'm ready for it. Lily deserves a family she can count on. I've thought this through, and I'm committed to providing her with a stable, loving home." Despite his unwavering dedication, Nathan couldn't help but feel the weight of each question and requirement. He worried about Evelyn's condition and the complexities it brought into their lives. At times, he found himself lying awake at night, questioning whether he could balance it all. But every morning, he was reminded of his purpose. Seeing Lily's bright smile and Evelyn's fleeting moments of clarity renewed his determination. He was ready to overcome any challenge to secure their future together. As the adoption process continued, Nathan realized he couldn't do it all alone. He reached out to friends and colleagues, sharing his journey and asking for letters of support. To his surprise, people responded with enthusiasm, offering words of encouragement and heartfelt testimonies. One day his assistant, Rachel, brought him a stack of letters from his co-workers, all vouching for his character and dedication to Lily. "Everyone believes in you, Nathan," she said, her eyes filled with warmth. "We've all seen how much you've changed since Lily came into your life. You're going to be a wonderful father." Nathan felt a deep sense of gratitude for the people who had rallied around him. Their support reminded him that he wasn't alone in this journey. He had a community of people who believed in his commitment to Lily, and their encouragement fortified his resolve. As the months wore on, Evelyn's condition fluctuated. Some days, she didn't recognize Nathan or Lily, her memories clouded by the fog of Alzheimer's. But other days, she would share brief moments of clarity, her eyes lighting up as she looked at them. One afternoon, as Lily played a familiar tune on the guitar, Evelyn seemed to awaken. Her gaze shifted to Nathan and Lily, her expression one of rare recognition. "Nathan," she whispered, her voice soft but clear. Is this your little girl?" Nathan's breath caught in his throat as he nodded. "Yes, Mom. This is Lily." Evelyn smiled, reaching out to take Lily's hand. "She's beautiful, Nathan. She reminds me of you when you were small. You always had a kind heart." Lily looked up at Nathan, her eyes filled with a deep, quiet joy. Evelyn's words were like a blessing, a precious affirmation of their new family bond. Though her moments of lucidity were fleeting, Evelyn had gifted them a memory that would stay with them forever. The final adoption hearing arrived with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. Nathan, Lily, and Tom Daniels entered the courthouse, their hearts pounding with anticipation. They had completed every requirement, passed every evaluation, and submitted every piece of documentation. Now they waited for the judge's decision. Judge Harris, the same judge who had presided over the guardianship hearing, entered the room, her expression calm and serious. After a moment of silence, she looked directly at Nathan and Lily, her gaze warm and empathetic. "Mr. Blake, Lily," she began, "I have reviewed the evidence and testimonies, and it is clear to me that you have created a loving, supportive family. This court is pleased to grant full adoption rights to Nathan Blake, making Lily Turner his legal daughter." A wave of relief and joy washed over them. Lily threw her arms around Nathan, her laughter echoing through the courtroom. Tears filled Nathan's eyes as he hugged her tightly, overwhelmed by the emotion of the moment. Judge Harris offered a rare smile. "Congratulations, Mr. Blake. It's a beautiful thing when family finds one another." As they left the courthouse hand in hand, Nathan felt a sense of fulfillment unlike anything he had ever experienced. He was no longer just a businessman or a caregiver. He was a father, and he was ready to embrace this new chapter of his life with Lily. That evening, the mansion was filled with laughter and joy as they celebrated the finalization of Lily's adoption. Friends and neighbors joined in the festivities, bringing gifts and well wishes. Anna had prepared a beautiful meal, and even Evelyn, in one of her moments of clarity, joined them at the table, smiling and laughing with everyone. Nathan looked around, his heart swelling with gratitude. His home, once a place of solitude and silence, was now filled with love, laughter, and the warmth of family. He knew that this was only the beginning, but he was ready to face the future, surrounded by the people who mattered most to him. Lily, now officially his daughter, beamed with happiness, her eyes shining with a sense of belonging. She hugged him tightly, whispering, "Thank you, Dad. I'm so glad I'm here with you." Nathan smiled, brushing a tear from his cheek. "I'm glad you're here too, Lily. Welcome home." In the weeks following the adoption, life at the Blake mansion took on a rhythm that felt both new and wonderfully familiar. For Nathan, waking up each morning now meant a sense of purpose he hadn't known before. Instead of the empty routine of work, he looked forward to the laughter that would fill the halls, the conversations shared over breakfast, and the soft music that drifted through the house when Lily practiced her guitar. Each morning they sat together at the breakfast table where Nathan would help Lily review her school assignments, going over math problems and reading passages. He had learned to adjust his work hours, allowing more time to spend with her, guiding her not only in her studies, but in her growth. Anna, who had watched the transformation in the household, often joined them, her once reserved demeanor softened by the family's newfound warmth. And every afternoon, without fail, Lily would visit Evelyn in her room, bringing her guitar and sitting beside her as they shared their special time together. The music provided Evelyn with comfort, and though she didn't always recognize Lily or Nathan, her smile showed her contentment. Nathan could see that these small moments brought peace to Evelyn's life, a reminder of the things she had once cherished, and a connection to the family that surrounded her. One crisp fall evening, as the leaves began to blanket the grounds in rich shades of amber and red, Nathan surprised Lily with a gift he had been quietly preparing, a small music room just for her, next to Evelyn's own music sanctuary. The room was filled with an assortment of instruments, including her guitar, a set of new sheet music, and a comfortable chair by the window. When he led her into the room, her eyes widened with awe, taking in the space that was now hers to create, explore, and dream. She looked up at him, her face filled with gratitude. "Dad, this is amazing. I can't believe you did this for me," she said, hugging him tightly. Nathan smiled, his heart swelling with pride. "You deserve a place of your own, Lily, somewhere to practice and make music, just like Grandma Evelyn did. I know you'll do wonderful things here." Overcome with excitement, Lily sat down at the piano, her fingers pressing lightly on the keys as she began to play a simple melody she had been learning. Nathan listened, his heart full, watching his daughter embrace the room he had made just for her. In her joy, he saw the future, filled with music, laughter, and the unbreakable bond they had forged. As time passed, Evelyn's condition continued to fluctuate, but her moments of clarity were no longer rare, especially when Lily played for her. One afternoon, as Lily strummed her guitar, Evelyn looked up, her gaze clear and bright. She turned to Nathan, a soft smile touching her lips. "Nathan, you've done a good job," she murmured, her voice steady and full of warmth. "You've given us all a family." Nathan took her hand, his own eyes shining. "Thank you, Mom. I couldn't have done it without you." And I couldn't have asked for a better family. Evelyn's hand tightened in his, her gaze drifting to Lily. Take care of her, Nathan. She's brought us so much joy. He nodded, overcome by the depth of her words. Evelyn's moments of lucidity, though fleeting, brought them all a profound sense of peace. These shared times with Evelyn became cherished memories, filling their hearts with gratitude for each precious day together. As winter approached, Nathan, Lily, and Evelyn embraced the quiet joys of the season, each day bringing them closer as a family. They spent evenings by the fire, sharing stories and playing music, with Lily often taking the lead as she grew more confident in her talents. Nathan felt a deep sense of satisfaction, knowing they had created a home where love and laughter thrived. One snowy evening, they ventured outside to build a snowman in the yard. Lily laughed as she and Nathan sculpted the snow, their playful energy infectious as they worked together. Evelyn watched from the window, her face lit with a smile, clapping her hands in delight when they finally completed their snowy creation. Back inside, they warmed up with hot cocoa, Lily nestled between Nathan and Evelyn on the couch. The warmth and peace of the moment enveloped them, and Nathan realized he had found exactly what he had been searching for all his life: a true, loving family. As spring began to bloom, Nathan looked forward to a future filled with endless possibilities. He knew there would be challenges and changes ahead, but he felt ready to face them, grounded by the love he shared with Lily and Evelyn. He had found his purpose in their family, and he was committed to nurturing and protecting it. One evening, as they sat on the back porch, Lily looked up at him, her expression thoughtful. "Dad, do you think we'll always be together?" Nathan smiled, pulling her close. "Yes, Lily, I promise. We'll always be together. Family isn't just about where we live. It's about the love we share and the memories we make. That's something no one can take away from us." Lily nodded, her face filled with a quiet confidence. They sat together watching the stars, content in the knowledge that they had found a home in each other, a home built on love, resilience, and the beauty of chosen family. If you enjoyed this heartwarming journey of love, family, and resilience, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. By joining our community, you'll stay connected with more stories that celebrate the beauty of family, the power of connection, and the strength we find in each other. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to sharing more uplifting tales with you soon. See you in the next story.